So we're going to go ahead and convene this July 30th meeting of the Audit Committee. The purpose of this meeting today was to meet the new audit team and supposedly have some conversation around some of the different things that are going on. So I'm Dan Brummett. I chair the audit team and also county commissioner. Can we just go around this way?
Commissioner Taylor.
Frankie Noble, Special Project Manager.
Archie Taylor.
Amanda Spivey, Audit Committee.
Mark Whittles.
And these people are from the county.
I'm Jeremy Jones, Assistant County Manager.
Stephanie Williams, Budget and Finance Director.
And Tammy Martin, Senior Financial Analyst.
My name's Austin Vance. I'm the Audit Manager at Thompson Price Scott Adams in our Wilmington office, and I will be the point of contact and overseeing all the financial statements and work being done this year for Vance County.
One more time, the name was?
Austin Vance.
Okay. So you'll be the one that's actually engaged,
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yeah, I'll be the main point of contact.
Okay. All right, now I understand we were supposed to change the managing partners this year. Who's now going to be the managing partner? Alan,
Yeah, it's not no longer Alan, it'll be Greg Adams.
Greg Adams. Okay. And I believe, Amanda, didn't you have the conversations with Alan and there were supposed to be 4 people here today? Is that what you understood?
That's what I understood, but
Sorry, Alan called me and he said for me to be up here. He didn't have to say, I think the whole team should be up
I
here.
thought the whole team was coming.
So right now,
Yeah, I thought the whole team, Alan had indicated the whole team.
that was my understanding. And that was, it was supposed to be, today was supposed to be the handoff from the old team to the new team.
Right.
And then to have any continuing questions, so we can have a conversation about those things. So just so you know, that's not what it appears has happened.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I'll be the main point in contact. Any questions that Stephanie will have or anybody here will have should come straight through me.
Okay. How much engagement have you had to this point?
For Vance County?
Yes.
None so far. I know Stephanie's reached out. We need to set a date, and I'll go ahead and get you the engagement organizer, which has our online portal. I'm sure our Whitewood team utilized that last year.
Yeah.
So I'll get you our Wilmington is a little bit different, a little bit organized a little bit differently. It's going to be a little bit different requests. I'm sure that's probably what y'all wanted, for us to come in here and start afresh and look at different things and make sure the transition still goes smoothly, but for us to be as thorough as possible. So I can go ahead and set that up for you probably tomorrow. Have that. So you can start uploading our ledgers, expense registers, and some revenue stuff ahead of time. And then with that way, we can go ahead and start making our selections and getting some of this information started.
So we'll need a whole new engagement. I'd asked Alan, had we already engaged, and we had engaged, but now we'll do a new engagement.
No, we don't need to do a re-engagement.
Okay,
Engagement letter and contract, we don't need to do that since it's still with TPSA.
okay.
But as far as engagement for our team, it'll be a whole new team. The way we do things a little bit different from the Whiteville office. And you'll see that in the portal as well with our selections and everything. You'll see, we'll probably end up testing a few different things because I like to test things based on risk. And once I get a trial balance, I look at materiality wise and see, if you have water, sewer, different rates testing, permit testing, perhaps. It depends on what shows up in the materiality and how much transactions you've had during the year. So I'll start making selections based on that as well. So what you'll get first is kind of like a standard template. And then I'll start once I get that preliminary trial balance. It doesn't have to be a final trial balance. And I'll start looking at that and making additional selections.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so you mentioned your process would be different, so just, our audit committee wants to be a part of this process. We've had some challenges in the past, and, so we want to be engaged as possible.
Okay.
So how do you plan on engaging the audit committee and keeping us informed?
Well, how often y'all, I guess, first question would be, how often do y'all meet? And I can have, phone conversation, or, whenever y'all meet, I can, phone in and, or a Zoom meeting, however you want to in that regard, it'd be fine with me. That I can make anybody here a part of that portal, and you can see how, the process is going, if she's uploading things in a timely manner, or, I can add you, CC you on emails, however you prefer, really.
Okay. What would the committee like to see?
I like portal access.
Yeah.
You can see what's been requested and what's been uploaded, and that would kind of show everything you need to see.
Okay, yeah.
Ms. Perry, what would you
Same
like?
thing, and CC emails.
CC emails as well, okay. Well, if, Stephanie, if you could give me everybody's name and email, and then I can add you to the portal and CC on all the emails.
Mark, you'd say?
It might be a lot, just because you might get pinged every time she uploads something, or if I accept something that she's completed, I'm just saying, it might be a lot. There's gonna be probably 75 items I request, just off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that gives us a chance to be engaged with the process.
Yeah.
And, make sure that we continue to move towards the right direction.
Yeah, and in that way, you can see what, as I go through it, you can see that she's completed a task, she'll say completed, and I'll say I accepted it. And then if something isn't right, I'll deny it, and you can be able to see that, and I can write a note, or she can write a note in there as well for each item.
Okay, all right.
Are you gonna be visiting the office, or will everything be uploaded?
No, I'll definitely be visiting the office. I don't like doing fully remote audits.
What will you be doing in the office?
Depends on what she can upload and what she can't upload. A lot of times what we like to come in and do is review all the checks and invoices, so she doesn't have a couple of hundred items to upload. We'll do a lot of rate testing. I like doing internal control narratives and walkthroughs in the office.
Okay.
Okay, if you encounter preliminary documentation, who finishes that documentation?
What do you mean?
You got a document that's incomplete, preliminary numbers, preliminary, do you send it back for completion, or do you finish the documents?
No, we don't touch any of your documents. You have to complete your own documents. So if I see something that's incomplete, I have to send it back, say, hey, can you update this, accordingly.
You provide adjusting entries.
Yes, of course, yeah. So let's say, one example would be, payroll liabilities. Crew payroll, say she does her accrual and it's 5 out of 7 days, needs to get accrued back, and that wasn't done properly, I'll go ahead and adjust that accordingly to make the trial balance meet, what it should have been. And then that's something that she doesn't need to go back and do. I'll just provide that entry.
Are we gonna see all the adjustments?
Yes, at the end of the audit, I provide, final trial balance, adjusting journal entries that got me from the preliminary, from the unadjusted to the final, along with the financial statements that match the trial balance. And you'll get a manager rep letter, financial prep letter, just saying that you have reviewed everything, that you deemed everything to be correct.
I heard a term mentioned in a previous meeting. I think it was called proposed entries. Do you encounter proposed entries, and how do you handle those?
Well, I guess any adjusting journal entry will be a proposed entry. So once I give you the adjusting journal entries, it's basically me proposing, hey, this is what I believe the entry should have been or should be to correct it. And if you deem that not to be true, you can give me feedback, say, hey, I think this is done a different way.
Why would you need to correct something?
Well, I mean, there's a million different ways. A lot of times she'll probably end up keeping her, so government audit, a lot of times her trial balance will be on a modified basis. And then for the financial statement purpose, I'll make it accrual basis. Modified basis is what she should be doing, but the financial statements, the first couple of statements is all accrual basis. So that's some adjusted journal entries I do. Like I said, liability could be, she make the adjusted journal entry for payroll liability, but maybe she didn't add in retirement in that, or she might have missed a day of the accrual. That'd be an adjusted journal entry. There's a million different ways to do adjusted journal entries. Inventory report might come in, might be $1 million on the inventory report, but the trial balance says 950,000 or 900,000. If I deem it to be material enough for difference, I'll make an adjusted journal entry.
So we're not gonna find out why there's an error when something is,
Well, yeah, that's what we do. Once we get the information in, and it's just say, a lot of times when I look at the general ledger and I see the inventory hasn't been touched for that last month, maybe see just something she overlooked. There's probably 1,500 accounts in her system, and she forgets to look at one account, and that's something that we actually look at. That's why we're making the adjustment entry.
Where we on the agenda,
We're still on the first line.
which is number one, introduction.
Yes,
There's discussion at the bottom, just want to make sure.
yeah, we're still just discussing that part.
Okay.
We can close the meeting, it's, yeah, okay. I guess the next thing on the thing is the review of our charter. And again, I believe through conversation with Alan, there was supposed to be some alternative charter amendments.
Yes, late yesterday, he sent over the contact information for, it's the New Bern, it's actually the New Bern
Okay.
area. And so, we're just gonna have to contact her and get with the charter they use if we want to change our charter. He was just recommending that he really thought they had a strong audit committee and a good charter. So I just asked if he could see it compared to ours. Since we're trying to do something we hadn't really done before.
All right, so that's something that we need to pursue at this point. He gave you the contact information.
He did.
And we need to follow up with that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay. Also, you, I guess, looked over the charter while you were sitting there, or not?
I
Just kind of looked over it?
just quickly reviewed it.
All right. Okay, so all the commissioners, all the members here are appointed by the audit committee. 5 members, with 2 members being from the county commissioners and 3 external members. So at least 1 member of the audit committee should have financial experience. I think, Amanda, you're a CPA, and Mark, you've been in doing tax work for a number of years, correct?
2 decades.
Hmm?
2 decades, I hate to admit it.
Okay, all right. Okay. Are there any new GASP laws or anything this year that we need to be aware of?
Just gave you 101 sick leave. Cool. So normally it's just been accrued vacation, but now they're wanting to add in sick pay into the financial statements. So, have you received,
Yes.
you have received
And we're
that?
taking classes for that.
Okay. All right. I have a spreadsheet to make your life a lot easier with that. So I'll send it over tomorrow as well.
Okay.
So that becomes a liability, I guess?
Yeah. Is it some long-term liability?
Okay. Okay, and it says the audit committee should meet at least 2 times per year or additional times when necessary. The audit committee may require management or others to attend meetings and to provide pertinent information as necessary. Colonel, did you have some questions on that?
No.
The audit committee may conduct executive sessions with the independent auditors, county manager, finance director, county attorney, or others deemed appropriate by the audit committee. The audit committee should oversee the appointment of independent auditors on the basis of specific criteria, including qualifications and experience, and external reporting, establish related audit fees, and forward the audit contract for approval by the county commissioners. If the auditors provide any non-audit services, determine the independent auditors have considered and documented this consideration by providing these services does not impair their independence. There were previously some questions on that, if I recall. Is that correct?
Which part?
On the independent, if the independent auditors provide any non-audit services, determine that the independent auditors have considered or documented its consideration about providing these services does not impair their independence.
Well, we didn't get a report last time on that. Are you accustomed to doing that to differentiate between audit services and non-audit services?
Well, normally, the only real non-audit services that we normally provide is financial statement preparation. And we do provide a financial prep letter at the end, just stating that you reviewed it with somebody who's competent in reviewing those, has reviewed and deemed everything to be above board, and you take responsibility of that. So this year, what my team is going to do is provide the actual audit, come in and actually do the audit, and then we're going to give it to our carry office and let them write it up. So that we're going to separate those two teams this year. It'll be independent in that regard.
I think where we had the issue with independence was probably 2 or 3 years ago. Is that right?
It was before we were here.
Before-
I just
before
wanna-
everybody
yeah, I just
else
wanna be
did,
clear
right.
about that. That was like, yeah,
And
just
we
wanna be
had
clear
a
about that.
we had a fraud incident where we had $1.4 million show up missing. And some of that went on. And I think there was reason to believe that some of it may have been facilitated by proposed entries to assist things, to make things balance. And so that is a concern that we do have.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, the audit committee should review and evaluate the performance of the independent auditors on an annual basis, review with the county commissioners, any recommendations from the audit committee concerning any proposed discharge of independent auditors. When needed, consider rebidding the audit contract with other CPA firms. That's something I think in the past, generally you do 3 to 5 years.
Correct.
And then you look for other auditors just to prevent some of these things that we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's what we normally say is a 3 to 5 year contract, and then you go out for rebid.
Okay. All right. Review with the independent auditors and finance director, the audit scope and plan of independent auditors to identify areas of audit concern and potential problems. Inquire of the county manager and finance director as to the fiscal health of the county of Vance, as well as the financial status of the county of Vance in relation to its adopted budget. Review the independent auditors and management and control weaknesses discovered during the audit and report the schedule of findings and question cost communications for independent auditor. Review with management, independent auditors, the financial annual statements, auditors' reports, and audit communications. Along with independent auditors, the audit committee should present to the county commissioners the annual financial statements, and auditors' report, and other communications. Review with management actions management is taking to correct the deficiencies that were discovered during the audit and reported by the auditors. If anybody has any questions with any of that? Okay. Again, we can get that information from, you said, was it Newbern or? Okay. So if there's some alternatives out there that we may propose, then that's something we can look into. Sure. Okay. All right. Okay, so I guess we basically had the point of contact discussion. And you'll be sending us your contact information, I guess. Stephanie will
Yes, Stephanie
provide
should
you
already have
with our emails.
Yeah.
And you'll provide us with that information.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion in that area? Okay. All right. And so we kind of talked a little bit about the engagement process. And I think we were told earlier that that process should have started like a couple of weeks after after year end, after fiscal year end. Is that generally correct?
Normally, that's the way it goes.
Okay.
So I've already done a lot of preliminary work from the majority of my clients. I only got like 2 or 3 more. And then we normally start field work, year-end field work at the beginning of August. So this year obviously is a little different, since we're taking it on so a little late. We'll go ahead and, like I said, start with the organizer, her having her upload things, and anything that she can't upload, go ahead and get that to us, so we can start reviewing it and possibly doing a lot of the entries, legiers, audit report stuff at the end, on our end, back in office. So once we get here, we'll go ahead and do the necessary testing, bank confirmations, cash reconciliation, looking into all of that, expense testing, revenue testing here on site. That way, once we're done, we can start writing up the financial statements.
Okay. We're currently on the corrective action plan because our audits have been late for the last 2 years. Is that correct? Or 3?
Probably 3,
Probably
I
3.
guess 3.
Okay. So, time is of the essence.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Do we still
I
have time to get that water?
Oh, yeah. Nobody's really even started a full audit yet, because you can't really even, there's no way your accounts payables are complete yet, you know. And most likely your accounts payable isn't gonna be complete until the end of August. You know, just especially if you have large projects going on, these contractors aren't gonna give you any invoices until late, sometimes all the way in September. So you just need to make sure you have a hard cutoff date for those type of invoices coming in. And then that way, once you have that, you know, this is the final trial balance, so we can definitely finish up year-end work. But that's not gonna matter right now, so once for your check registers and all that, so you can go ahead and start uploading all the expense ledgers, check registers. You'll see for the water and sewer, the daily deposits for that. We're gonna request some like a month and 10 random days. For that, you can go ahead and upload all that. The overwhelming majority of information should already be ready to close. So you can go ahead and upload all that. And hopefully your Leo reports, legiers, and your OPEB, you have already requested that information, and Kevin McDonald, whoever you use, has already given you that information as well,
Yeah.
or at least hopefully soon. So normally, a lot of times, that's the OPEB 75 and 73, those Leo gadget 73 and 75 reports are what causes a lot of counties to be late. There's just not requesting them in a timely manner, and there's only like one firm that really does the majority of North Carolina, so they get backlogged, and it takes months and months to get that. So if you already requested that, you're ahead again.
You have requested it.
I have.
So the state changed the audit due date from October 31st to December 31st. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
But the penalties are greater if you don't meet the December 31st deadline. Is that correct?
They're using a grace period, a 6-month grace period after that. As far as, I'm assuming you're talking about the local option sales tax, 25% being withheld. There's still a 6-month grace period after that. The only thing you do is apply, and they said they're gonna automatically grant that for the first 6 months. So it's still gonna be basically the same, I would say. I won't say it's a larger penalty. But obviously, we're still gonna shoot to have you well before December 31st. As long as we get everything in a timely manner.
That's something that's very important.
Right.
I mean, because it's something that we've got to get past to the county and get back on track so that we can get out of this. That's the main thing, I guess, that's holding us in the corrective action plan right now. Is that correct, Ms. Wood?
It is. That's one of the things, and there are a few findings that were repeat. So,
Yeah.
Did I understand you to say that you've done most of your preliminary work with other clients, but we're just getting started here?
Correct, because I've just, been told I was taking over this engagement. I didn't know I was, taking this over until last week. So that's why I haven't even really prepped much yet.
Other thing is, you mentioned a month and a certain amount of random days. Is that something that you show up unannounced and get, or is that something that the office chooses?
No, that's something that I request to the organizer. And like I said, that's something that she can provide when I'm on site, or she can go ahead and upload it. It's already days, it's already passed, the daily deposit report that you get from your tax office or your water and sewer office. Those are the certain dates that I'm been looking at. And they're completely random month and random days. And I'll look at the deposit, from your daily deposit report that your, each person, for whoever's in charge to chill that day, it has to, be printed, and then look at the bank deposit, all the way to the bank statement, and to the GO.
Okay. Any other questions in the engagement process part?
I would say also, just some homework for you. We'll see, one thing I do like to do is I confirm all your debt. So all your lenders, go ahead and get in touch with them. I want to see a 6/30/2025 statement that says exactly what the balance is.
Okay.
We'll also get a grant workbook. And this is another thing that a lot of times counties are late, due to, is called not keeping up with your grants properly. So if you can go ahead and start working on that grant workbook, it says, the exact name of all the grants, how much you received during the year, and how much you actually spent during the year. So that's the most important thing, is how much you spent during the year. It's gonna help us with the, creating that CISA, a schedule of expenditures, federal and state expenditures.
Even for sub-recipients that we've been passed through?
Even the subject. And all of that spelled out on that grant workbook. Hopefully if you have any questions, like I said, you can just contact me and I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding that.
There were also some changes last year with the opioid settlement funds, correct?
Yes,
Are there any more changes this year?
there's not that I know of, no. Normally, so everything that should just be thrown into a deferred revenue. And every time you receive money, you're just, taking that in deferred revenue and calling it revenue as you
Yeah.
spend it.
Okay. All right. Ms. Williams, you could give us a recap on this NCACC report.
Okay.
We don't have, I know you emailed it to us, but we don't have any copies of that. do we?
I think it's in the packet.
Is it?
I think, it's in the packet.
Okay, thank you.
So in light of the many changes or difficulty that Vance County had experienced within the last few years, we had a lot of housekeeping things to clean up. And one of those items that we did was call in a representative that works with the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners to come in and do an overview. So she came in and she will be providing us with some assistance throughout, just trying to get some dates cleared up. But she came in and did an overview of the department, talked with the staff. Of course, it's like everybody in North Carolina, everybody know what transpired. It transpired, it's over. So we're just trying to move forward with new policies, new processes, new procedures to be more proactive. So she took a look, of course, with the findings, we'll go over the findings, see where they were, what we can do to not experience the same findings. She talked with the staff about their job duties, their job description. We were able to move some things around. Because probably for the last, since 2021, Tammy's been the only one keying everything for the county and doing the bank reconciliation, which of course that is, it's not good. Yes, not segregation of duties, and also time-wise.
Yeah.
So we would address, like, as far as the timeliness of being able to complete some of the payroll liabilities, reconciliation, the bank reconciliation, she's got to have time to keep. So those were a little bit behind. They were done by the time the audit got here, but they were a little bit behind and not as consistent and on a more consistent basis as they should have been. So we have moved some things around in the department. So she's no longer keying, so we don't have to worry about the segregation of duties anymore. And as far as time-wise, she'll have more time to really review and get the bank reconciliations done. So let's talk about the payroll liabilities. We have received lots of training. We've completed the LGC's modules. I think we've done all of those. We've completed some trainings with the North Carolina League of Municipalities. And also, we have received training from Edmonds, who's over our financial software. And we're just still working with them because one of the things that we found up is that the system for a lot of the things that was going on wasn't really set up properly. So we had Edmonds to come in and we've done training, trying to get those set up to clear up some of those discrepancies that was a result of those. So that was just pretty much her overview. She came, she spent the day, she'll be back. So we can just continue on this journey of progressing.
Okay, now
Okay.
this report was finalized on June 30th, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so any of these issues have been going along this year, is that correct?
So yeah, they were been, as far as we did the transition to free up Tammy's time so that she's able to do the reconciliation more timely.
When was that done? That effective July 1st, is that when that is?
Yes, yeah, because it wasn't in the budget. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now, I'm also on the Social Services Board, and I know as part of the transition there were the way the reporting was done, all of the things weren't put in a timely manner. And so when they got them back and went to apply for the credit from the state, some of those were missed.
So what things were those?
It was about $750,000 worth. I think Ms. Cobb, when she went through everything.
So there were some requests that we received from social services going back from March of 23?
Yeah, there was about 2
Yeah,
years worth.
Yeah, so they requested the information, so we sent it to them. So they complete that 1571. So social service is a different audit. It's a different audit that I think when auditors come, they go to social services and they do the audit there. So I'm not really involved as far as social services is concerned, or what they have to submit, or what they need from us to submit from to the federal, to the state. So when that request was made, we did go in and print out all of that backup documentation and the check information that was sent to them. And I think they were able to send it in and get some of those funds back.
We
But
lost
that-
a considerable amount.
Yeah, but that's completely social services.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that would be something that we would probably want the auditors to take a closer look at while they're doing their process this year.
I would think so, yeah.
1571 is testing that we do automatically, it's required.
Right. But where we're missing out was on the recovery of the state funds, the way those were being done.
Was the reason that they were untimely filed?
My understanding is, and I need to talk with Sandra, she was the one that was explaining it to me. I don't do it every day, so.
I know part of it, like some of them were paid out of the wrong fund, so they had to move that. So I think that was part of it. They had to change some of the where they were paid out of, and then that was part of it. And some of them, I think, which may have just been, they didn't get the information to submit.
My understanding was that, like, they submitted information to be posted. And then, like, say, if they presented it in February, it didn't get posted till March. And so when they got their March stuff, the February stuff had been put in March. And when they did their reconciliation to the state, they just looked at what was in March and didn't look at the things that were backdated from February. That was my understanding.
So we post, and Tammy made it a priority to make sure that when she gets social services, because we know their report is due to the state by the 15th.
Okay.
So she makes it a priority to post it. And we can't post it if we don't get it.
Yeah.
And that's what, so I
Yeah.
just, I know that's an issue. I know Ms. Cobb coming in, she was able to go through and find, like I said, about $750,000, close to $1 million with funds that we were able to go back and claim. And so we just need to make sure that those kind of things are not happening
So that's definitely a discussion we want to have with the social
with
services.
social services and make sure that our communication is adequate there.
But you know, as Mark just pointed out, and you know, some of it wasn't posted late. Like you're talking about your February, March example, while they're working it, another one comes through immediately and they forget to post that, or they're behind and they move to the most current one.
Well, you understand that, you're on the social service board too.
But you were right, Mark, when you said some of it just didn't get posted.
Okay. So that's something, I guess the other big thing was we had some federal funds that were put into the general fund at year-end closeout. From,
Concerning social services?
yes. There was, what was it? Close to 100,000, wasn't it? Yeah. So we need to make sure, I mean, that's a big no-no. You can't commingle federal funds with,
So whatever they send over here, they code it.
okay.
So all department heads are required to code their information when it's been sent in.
Okay.
So we code where they tell us to code it.
All right, so I mean, I've got some, we got documentation in our packets, didn't we? So we can go back and look at the meeting packets and see exactly what happened there. But that's something there that we need to take a look at. Okay. So this summary that you provided, was there actually a working document that was more extensive, or was this all you got from
This
this?
was all I got. Yeah, she had conversations with everybody and, yeah, this is what she submitted.
Mhm.
Did she make notes when she was interviewing people?
I'm sure she did, but based from those notes, this is what she submitted. I didn't ask her specifically for her notes, and I didn't ask her for her individual conversations that she had, because that was between her.
Was she like taking notes when she was interviewing?
She did.
How long was she here?
She was here all day. Well, actually, she came a full day. She was here a full day.
Full day?
Yeah, she came a full day.
Okay.
So could you go into some acronyms? Let's start. I like
Okay.
to go to know questions about like acronym ignorance. I'm acronym ignorant. What is orbit? I see that as a
So that's
space launch.
That's a retirement system with the state. It's named Audit. So
But it
that's,
stands for something. Right.
we just always call it.
And the other one was, what is LOCRS? That's also a state thing, but.
Yeah, so that's a state, yeah.
Well, you can find that out.
Yeah, I will. I'll find that out,
We
yeah.
don't need to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
So going down this, I'm looking at recommendations. Now, could you tell us what the current status is of these recommendations? Like recommendation, the second one says submit a support ticket to them. Has that been done?
To Orbit? Yeah, so Kathy's worked on that, yeah.
That has
Kathy's our
been
payroll
done.
person.
Say again?
Yeah, Kathy, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Kathy's our payroll person, so she talks to
And
over
we-
every month.
And we've also done the, collaboration in the first bullet here.
With the job description review, well,
It
you
says
page on.
finding payroll liability accounts are not currently balanced on a regular basis.
Right.
That's the finding. And then the recommendation is to collaborate with the payroll specialists, et cetera, et cetera. So what's going on now? What is
Yeah, so
the
what's
current
happening?
status?
Yeah, so because Tammy is no longer, it's not keen anymore, that's gonna free up some time. So she will be working with the payroll, she'll be the backup to that. So between the payroll at the end of each month, there are some liabilities that is current and there's some that clears up the next month. So we are working on finalizing that and getting that squared away.
So this is in progress.
It
It's
is,
not
it is,
done.
yeah, so this was, right.
So is there a date for having this done by? What's
So
your
we
target-
set a
what's your
date for
target
like-
date for having that done?
By the end of September, that was our target date that we had set.
End of September.
Because we knew we'd be involved with year-end closeout and then the audit.
So will it be the end of September by the time you get to June 30th reconciled?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Is that your-
Well, no, that'd be, as far as doing the training and getting in a rhythm and routine, having to make sure that these are reconciled I think we're shooting for by the 10th of the month. And Tammy she's looking at them every month anyway. Some are, and I think with the new insurance we got, some of the money that we collect is before the bill is due, and some is in the arrear. So there's going to be some funds that are gonna be left over. It's just gonna have to carry over for the next month, for when it's time to get that invoice paid.
Okay, so I guess my question would be for June 30th, payroll liability, when do you think you'll be called up and know that's been done correctly?
Oh, so we're working on that now. So, as far as working on that, along with the payables and receivables and all of that, as far as clearing all those up.
So Dan, I
Yeah,
would
but it's-
suggest that's something that the audit committee, this committee, needs to be looking at on an ongoing basis.
So,
Because the process has not been set up yet, is what you're saying. Y'all in the
Right,
process
we are,
of getting
right.
this done. And they're gonna be done by September.
Where they're done, it just weren't done probably as soon as they should have been done.
Why was that?
Yeah.
Why weren't they done timely?
Staffing. When you have one person that's doing all of the journal entries and the bank reconciliation, we have one person that's still doing, two people that's doing AP, the staffing level. And you just have to work with your staffing level.
okay, I believe Austin's question was, when do we expect those to be done?
By June 30th.
The
Yes,
June 30th.
yeah. Oh, definitely, yes.
When do you think
When do you think you'll have it?
when do you think you'll have a final trial balance ready?
The final trial balance won't be ready because we're still getting payables. And I think we're still getting receivables.
So when's your cutoff for those invoices?
My cutoff for the trial balance is the end of September.
Okay,
Does that work?
Have there been
that's
any,
when I can come and do my final review of everything. Yeah, a lot of times, yeah. So all of my other counties that I've already scheduled, end of September, beginning of October. I don't have anybody scheduled before.
has the finance office hired anybody this year?
We hired someone that strictly works with the sheriff and the county. That was the only person that we hired.
Okay, so the same people are still there that were in there before, all
Right,
this year.
right.
But the job assignments were incorrect, and that's why the things were late?
Well, yeah, we shifted some job duties around.
Was there a reason not to do that before this lady got involved?
I mean, when I got here, I started shifting duties.
But this one didn't get shifted, is that?
Right. So
Well,
when I
this was
got,
ongoing before you got here. The
yes,
point is, you are now trying to set up a system that corrects this problem.
that corrects it
It's been pointed
for
out
now
there.
going
So it's
forward.
no sense for us to be talking about what was going on before you got here.
Hmm.
Because of that, and we know before you got here, the system was bad. Not doing the way it should be done.
I believe in one of our last, audit meetings, Manager Perry said that as of this day, we are fully accountable. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, July 1 the fiscal year, that's what was, yeah.
So
Right.
that,
But it's still involving some shifting around.
okay,
My concern is, this is something that needs to be continuously monitored.
Absolutely.
That even if you're gonna have it done by September, I'm concerned that after September, what's going on? This is something we need to continuously monitor to make sure it's getting done.
Absolutely,
Rather than a one-time fix and then forget about it.
absolutely.
And then we're back to where we were.
can you explain some of the difficulties we were having with the sheriff's office in presenting invoices? That, I mean, you guys have obviously, you put a person in that place now. What was the issue?
So that issue was, I think when I got here, there were invoices and bills that were going back probably 2 years that had not been paid. Invoices to the healthcare, invoices to the vendors. And we've had to come to the commissioner several times asking for additional funding to pay all of that. So I think, when the county manager, I guess, and the sheriff had a conversation, and then the commissioners agreed that we will have a person specifically that will handle the sheriff and the jail invoices.
When was that person put in place?
She started in December of 24.
December 24.
December 24.
Okay, so part of this past fiscal year, there would be some issues. And I know we did some budget amendments. and so
Yeah,
forth.
well, when she came in, I had made sure that she contacted every vendor. Every time a invoice came in, she contacted every vendor. So we changed the contact. We set up an email thread so that not just one person is getting it. So 5 people on the email. So if that person is out, someone knows that this invoice is, needs to be paid and needs to be processed.
Was my understanding the gas was cut off down the jail?
I think it was. Mhm.
So I mean, those kind of things like that, we've got to, that's opportunities.
Yeah.
And there has been changes at the jail also, by moving people away out of that position.
Okay,
What was that, Franklin?
They made a change at the jail also,
Oh, yeah.
changing position.
okay. All right, so what we talked about, the first two, the retirement thing, I think we talked about that, correct?
Yeah, what's going on with that? This locus utilization, this code for retirement?
Yeah, so it's a code that, and I think actually that's something that we, HR is working on. So I guess when retirees leave, they have to be coded a certain way. So HR codes the staff when they come in. So payroll don't act.
The first thing I'm hearing is this is not a financial thing, this is an HR thing.
Well, as far as the coding, yeah, because they add the staff. So payroll, which is in finance, pays the staff, but as far as how they code it, HR takes care of that.
Is that, I guess,
The finance people don't look to see if this code has been applied before they deal with the particular retiree. There's
No,
no
'cause
linkage between those two.
It's based upon, like, if they're getting retirement from the state, they have to be coded so that the state knows when to come in, they're still paid. So we don't, once it's coded, I don't think, and there's certain access that a payroll person can have because of internal controls. So she really can't go in there and add people and make sure the code, because then that could be changed and then could be an issue for internal controls. So, but it's also probably something that wasn't brought to the attention before like it is now.
so that could create also a liability for the employee because they have to stay out of work for a certain amount of time after they
Yeah.
retire.
And I think
And
it's
if they were not aware of that, then this could create penalties for them. Is that correct? Is that what this is?
I think it could create issues with them as far as with their retirement, part of how much of retirement they're getting. And I think there's a limit, depending upon the age, on how much they could make. So I think that has something to do with coding them properly, making sure they're coded.
All right, and then number 4, so we're using Excel for reconciliation.
Yeah, so the North Carolina, it's with our investment account. So we get the statement and it's coded on the GL. So she asked if they can be set up as a reconciliation and admin. So that's something we're just setting them up as a bank account that we just have to get with Edmonds. It's not any bank account that we pay out of. It's just the recording of when we get the interest. That's divvying up the interest that we get based upon our investment.
I'm not sure I understand that,
Okay.
because to me, using Excel and the kind of systems that we use today to do financial management, Excel is archaic. I mean, you know, that's for people like me, not people who are using good financial systems to manage their accounts. So, and it says here to make sure that it's reconciled with a module in Evans, which is their software. They must have in the Evans software, there must be a portal or a module that you want to do this Excel stuff. So what do we use Excel for?
So we use
As it
Excel
relates to this?
because the North Carolina Capital Management, there are different funds that there's money that is invested that comes from the tourism, comes from the fire, that comes from all the different types of fund as far as that makes up that investment. So right now, Edmonds does not, when we get the interest, it has to be divvied up. Like whatever, based upon how much is invested, like 20% may go here, 30% here. It's probably about 15, it's about at least 15 different accounts as far as that the money is pulled from. That, and Edmonds does not have the system as far as when she goes in there and put the interest in to divvy it up and put it where it's supposed to be and know exactly how much each account has earned from their funding. So that's why it's done in Excel. And I don't think Edmonds has that, but she wants it. But only thing she would need to set up, if the bank account is set up, when she does a journal, well, she's doing a journal entry now. It's kind of like the same thing, but as far as having an account and setting up all the different percentages, that system does not accommodate that.
So is Evans the software system that most counties use in
Yes.
North Carolina?
Yes, Evans Tyler system.
And most counties use Excel to do what I'm hearing here?
No, so most of them don't.
For the investment.
So what do-
No, for
If
a
they
lot of
don't
times,
use Excel, what do they use?
so the NCCMT account, there's very, very little activity most counties have in it. It's just like you said, interest, and then maybe some transfers coming in and out. My thing would be, you could probably include that NCCMT account in your, central depository. And then you can go in and divvy out your interest through that, once that money's coming in as the reconciliation.
Well, she's
Now-
posted it to those.
Now, this
different
NCCMT is on your, so it says maintained outside the financial system. Does that mean you're reconciling outside the financial system, or does that mean NCCMT account's not even on the trial balance at all?
It's on the trial balance, it's reconciled.
It's
as far-
reconciled.
Yes,
Okay.
That's right, so
Yeah.
basically using an outside system to do your reconciliation
Right.
and then moving it to your system for trial balance.
yeah, just posting it. to
Creates
match
an
the statement.
opportunity for,
So you're just manually adjusting that interest.
That's all it is, yeah.
but it just creates a risk opportunity there.
It doesn't. Because that's
Okay.
just the interest that we're getting that is earned. We don't write checks out of that account. No checks or it's nothing's written out of that account.
And I'm
It's
just
just-
reading here, it says
yeah.
relying on Excel for
Yeah.
reconciliation increases the risk of errors and reduces audit transparency.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I asked that question. Other counties using Excel.
So I came from a school system
So
and we use that and, for North Carolina NCMT, we had that investment and we use Excel the same way. We just to calculate how much money that's coming from this account is earning interest, and then the journal interest done. So the total balance is maintained in Edmonds. So at any point in time, you can look at this statement and see that the interest was earned and that it ties back to the journal entry, to the general ledger.
Into the statements though.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, if it's only interest coming through, that's not.
That's all it
That's
is.
not much to reconcile it all, so it's not that big of a deal. But once if the town does start getting low on funds, we wanna start transferring that money out, NCCMT, you know, that's when it starts becoming an issue, I would say.
So when they say using, reading here, when it says, these are some keywords, relying on Excel, increases the risk of error. What kind of errors are they talking about?
I mean, the formula's not
These are
correct.
major areas that would
It's,
impact
it's
what's going
not,
on?
because she's gonna know instantly, because when she puts the formula in there, it's gonna have to tie back to the total interest. And she'll know instantly if the formula's off.
And
It's
I
just
always
got-
tie to what's in Edmund's, in each individual account, because I always print those out and attach them to the bank reconciliation for
So
that.
you disagree with her finding altogether, what you're saying?
Well, we're gonna see, I don't believe Edmonds does it, but we are going to see if there is a way for Edmonds to have it, but I don't believe it does. So the Excel,
Well, the interesting
You know, we
thing
were-
is, she says relying on Excel increases the error, but she didn't give you a recommendation on what you should be using.
well, she said maybe, see if it can, a reconciliation in Edmonds to include the account. But the only thing that's coming in there is if we were writing checks and doing all that, that would be different, but we're just recording the interest that we've earned.
And we haven't discovered any error so far.
No, we know instantly.
Yeah, only thing I would say is, see if you can add that in with your central deposit, central, account. Cause I'm sure you're using a central, reconciliation account for all your funds.
Yeah,
So maybe you can add that in there and then still do it manually to all the different departments that it should be going to. But it'll just be a part of that reconciliation instead of having a whole separate
whole separate
reconciliation.
one.
Maybe not, I don't know.
Is it possible the audit committee could be involved in the exit interview when, Ms. Lofton comes back?
I'll have to check with her, because I don't wanna speak for her, and I don't wanna speak for what she's trying to do for us individually and what we are trying to accomplish in our day-to-day responsibilities. And then also have to let Renee, because Renee is very specific as far as what we're having to do is our day-to-day responsibilities, that she's overseeing that. So that will probably be a question for the county manager.
I mean, because this was actually done in lieu of a forensic audit.
Mhm.
This audit committee had recommended. And I believe this committee still feels that we need a forensic audit. And that's, based on some of the past practices and then the things I continue to see, the discrepancies from the past still exist.
So we can definitely bring it back to the full board of commissioners.
I understand that, but the audit
That's what we're planning
committee,
to do as well.
we're discussing here in the audit committee right now.
Sure, we'll bring it back
To
to
see
you.
that, and so there needs to be some discussion on that. And, we'll have that opportunity to discuss some of the specifics of that. And, probably as you go into your process, if you identify some things, we could have some more discussion on that.
I'd like to add something too. Colonel mentioned that we don't need to go back into the past. With all due respect, I think sometimes you have to look at the past to know where you're at going forward. And I know there's still things in the past here that need to be revisited in order to be settled. Today's not that day. But I'm not comfortable with some of the things that have gone on. And I think there's gonna come a time that we've got to deal with those, not today, but I just wanted to add on to what you just said. There's some issues.
Things happened in the past
Yes,
for us.
we'll get to all of this at a later time, but today's not the day.
I just want to make sure we
Okay,
understand that.
I don't know, Amanda, you're CPA, do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think this shows we've got issues that are,
And I think some of the
Lingering
things in the past that maybe you've seen that we need to examine and find out why
sure.
they haven't been so.
Yeah,
Is that-
there's several things I thought that have been not handled.
I didn't know if I was the only one.
No, I agree with you. The things that are past, you definitely need to examine just to make sure they don't happen again. If you don't examine the past, you're gonna repeat that error again if you don't know what's going on. So I certainly agree with that.
And I think that's one of the things that we have done with Guy, and when I meet with my staff, when I first got here, I made sure I pulled the audit findings of what transpired from 21, 22, 23. And we have gone over those, and we're making sure that we're putting practices in place there to not repeat those. And as you can see from the prior audit, where there were 8, we were able to, within when I got here from April to that June, with 3 months trying to learn a new system and having a new staff that wasn't completely trained, trying to make sure made some of the correction. And with that 3-month period of time, by the time that the audit because I had to finish the 22, 23 when I got here, but by the time the 23 and 24 was complete, we went from 8 to 3. So there is some progress. So I'm not gonna sit here and not recognize what the staff and the team and I have done to fix some of those. There are some things that need to be done correctly, but you don't go in a organization and within 20 days or 30 days or a year time and fix everything that has been continually transpiring for like the last 3 to 4 years. It takes some time, and I think we're working on those. I think we're doing a great job, but I'm not going to not recognize the staff for improving those, because we have done that, and we're still correcting those issues, and we're still working on them. And I think some recognition needs to be said for that. There have been some corrections that haven't been done, and we are moving forward, and we'll continue to move forward. And this was not the staff that was here when all of these transpired, as far as the administration that was here when all of this transpired.
Okay. Are there any more questions on the NCACC report? Can you give us a trial balance review?
Yeah, so the trial balance is constantly changing. Probably won't be finished, as we said, to the end of September. We're constantly doing payables, receivables, reviewing and spot checking the accounts to make sure what was coded, it was coded properly. And we know that the ending year balance from fiscal year 23-24 is in line with the beginning balance for 24-25. So we're just going through, looking at our postings and looking at the liabilities and seeing what should have cleared out the end of June and what's rolling over into July. So it's changing every day. Every time a PO is done for prior year, every time a journal entry, and we're still getting journal entries from the staff that have to be made, and funds that are coming in, and waiting to get information from EnviroLink on what the receivables from the end of the year, and call it to them for what the receivables that's left over that's not collected from the end of fiscal year 25. So it's constantly moving.
I saw some of the balance sheets that were sent out. Noticed negative numbers on some of them, positive numbers on the cash. What would cause them to be negative?
So there's some accounts that probably need to be cleared out that hadn't had activity in like the last few couple of years. We have not closed them or cleared them because we don't know at any point in time when we might need to go back and look at those. And then sometimes it calls for some transfers from the general fund to those different funds.
Why wouldn't that be updated regularly, so if somebody needed to study that report, they'd have accurate information?
So we do transfers.
You know what I'm saying, on an ongoing basis, so there wouldn't be negative numbers.
So those will cause for a transfer, so I would have to do budget amendments to make sure that they're transferred. So like facility funds facility fees is one of them. And I know when I worked with the prior interim one, he was saying there's some of these accounts that would probably need to be closed, that just haven't been. But facility fees, we probably get very little fees, but there are payments that are made out.
So any account, any balance sheet that has negative cash needs to be closed?
I'm not saying, some of them, yes, and some of them, they haven't had any activity.
But wouldn't they need to be current for people to be able to utilize those reports? Instead of like they are at this point?
I would say yes, yeah. But there's certain things when we get here, so a lot of stuff that needed to transpire, and we just prioritizing on when we're getting around to it. We know overall we have the funds to cover them, and overall, like I think all of those funds are a part of the general fund. Everything's paid out of the general fund.
Okay. So I think what I'm hearing you saying is we're having to go to the general fund to balance accounts.
Well, they're all connected to the general fund anyway, but so say for instance, so like facility fees is, was set up. There's really no separate bank account. You got, so that's in the negative. It's been in the negative. You got the reval where we set up funds to pay for like the revaluation, the annual revaluation. So amount of money that was put there to pay those.
So we're paying more money than we budgeted?
So what some of this is, I won't say that what we paid what was budgeted, but some of these are rolling over, negatives are rolling over from a prior year.
So we don't do a closeout every year and.
Not, with a closeout, they're still part of Fund 10. I think what he's looking at is still part, all of these are part of Fund 10. When you look at the first part of the trial balance, all of these, general fund, you got the facility fees, debt service, Fund 40 reval,
I guess
fire
what
tax, yeah.
what I'm getting at is how do you track and trace and protect cash if you don't have reports to let you know where the cash is?
So the cash is in 10. So all of these are like sub-accounts of 10.
Amanda, does this, your CPA, do we want accurate reports or?
We never want accurate reports. Yeah, I have to hear you explain some more as to why there's so many of these accounts with negative balances.
Is your 10 fund your central depository?
It is.
So yeah, so it's probably, each of those accounts that are negative are probably associated with a fund. So just say Fund 30 is got negative $500, but it still has to be reconciled in Fund 10. So overall, your cash has been reconciled properly, but fund by fund, so let's say negative 30 has negative $500 because you had expenses of $500, but no revenues came in yet. So that's a negative $500 for your cash, and then $500 worth of expenses, but the cash came out of Fund 10.
Isn't it clearer to just look at a report and not have to wonder where things are that are missing on this report?
I don't know what you mean by missing, but most places I look at, a central depository, a lot of them do have negative cash in it by the fund, but overall, that whole Fund 10 overall has been reconciled properly.
But you can't look at that balance sheet and know what's going on with these numbers here. You gotta go somewhere else and guess at what's going on.
Most places use a central depository. If she didn't use a central depository, she would have 100.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, you say a central depository or something like maybe someone would call a master bank account, then you'd have sub-accounts under it. But what I'm saying is if you're trying to monitor money and you're trying to monitor budgets, does somebody like our commissioners here, can't they have something that lets them monitor things without having to figure out maybe this negative number would clear up if something else had been processed?
You would need more than a balance sheet. But you're looking at budgets, and you need to be talking about.
But if they're looking at a balance sheet, shouldn't those numbers actually reflect that's what I've been accustomed to, is seeing an accurate report, not guessing where missing or inaccurate numbers are tied to other areas. That's just my question. And Amanda, you're a CPA. Can you tell me if I'm on the wrong track here?
I just need to understand more how these accounts work. I mean, I'm listening right here.
Okay.
Which all in the central depository system. And so all of these sub-accounts, you're saying that's very common to have all these sort of negative balances.
So, normally on, let's say, central depository, you have a due from account that has $20 million in it, and that's your total cash. And then you have all these due from accounts, let's say due from Fund 30 would be negative 500.
They're just recipient
Then
payable.
yeah, that's basically what it is.
Mhm.
It's just showing all those due from accounts represents, your cash for each department, for each, fund. Normally that's how it works. So this is, like I said,
Does it
your
ever get
fund,
squared?
yeah, it should. Because let's say, going back to that example for Fund 30,
Mhm.
let's say at a point in time, let's say June 30th, it's negative $500 cash because you spent $500
Mhm.
in that fund, but no revenues came in. When the revenue comes in, your cash is going to go to zero on that fund
Mhm.
particularly, and then you have $500 of revenue. So it's just a timing issue, which
So
I think
that-
what you're talking about.
That'll work itself out
Normally, yes,
within the closing.
unless there's a bunch of, well, yeah, for the cash purposes, it'll work itself out.
Does it always have to be worked out by like year end or certain?
No, it doesn't, because like I said, if you're having $500 invoice come in July 1st,
Mhm.
because you made that for that Fund 30, no revenues come in yet, or she just needs to do a transfer, because general fund might be covering that expense.
Mhm.
It's just a timing difference.
Mhm.
There's nothing inaccurate about it unless your reconciliation is inaccurate.
Okay. So do you have ways to verify or validate that the balance in that due from or due to account is correct?
Well, it's gonna be, yeah, because, so, just say for Fund 30, that negative cash is $500, I can go to Fund 10, and it should be a due from Fund 30 for $500, yeah.
Okay.
That's how it typically works.
Stephanie, I know we made a lot of changes on our budget this year after it was proposed. We got a budget ordinance. Is there a way we can get an itemized final budget
For
Line item.
24,
for this,
25.
for this
Yeah.
coming year?
So there's a budget reconciliation that we have to do at the end of the year. I think during the course of the year, I think we had about like 40 budget amendments. So right now,
I'm not talking about the last fiscal year.
You're
I'm
talking about this
for this coming.
we
this fiscal
haven't done any budget amendment for this fiscal
No,
year.
I know.
Okay,
All right, you presented us a line item budget, hey, this, what this
right,
did,
right,
okay?
right.
And then the budget totally changed, okay? Because we went in and made these changes and those changes, and all we got was the budget ordinance. We never did get a copy of the full itemized, here's what the budget looks like. Can we get that?
You talk what you get initially in the changes from the different individual line items that created the budget ordinance.
That finalized?
Okay, oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay, that would be good to get. I'd like
Okay.
to have that because
yeah,
we made substantial changes this year in what was originally proposed.
okay.
I guess the idea there is to see, if the ordinance says one thing and the budget says.
Oh, it's not,
So, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
questioning that.
it's not.
I mean,
You
I'm
just,
questioning some of the increases that occurred in some of the budgets and to see specifically what line items those increased in. And so.
I think I thought Renee did a summary
Yeah, there
of
is a
that.
summary of what.
I don't want a
Okay.
summary. I
Okay,
want-
we'll give you
I
the
want the
report.
actual-
Okay. We'll give you the
Yeah,
report.
the summary.
Okay.
I had a question about, I looked at the proposed budget online, and there was a section in here with revenue, and it had negative figures. You can take a look at that. I didn't understand negative figures in a revenue.
So the revenues carry this, credit balance, right? So that's how that's how it's keyed in. So when you offset the revenues, it's a credit, and then you don't have the, expenditures are on the, or the net, but that's just how they're keyed. Yeah,
Is that standard?
it is, because when we get revenue, cash is debited and revenue is credited.
Is that Amanda, are you?
That's correct. That was a discussion we were having, was I don't know this system. So yes, revenue, income goes in as a credit, for sure. But lots of times when you report, I don't know what system you're using, but it wouldn't read like that. My financials don't read like that. I don't have my income in parentheses, but I don't know that system.
Is that common?
Yeah.
To have this in a budget?
It's normal.
It is?
So all your debits is gonna be without parentheses and all your credits is with parentheses.
Okay.
That's the way I see it all.
I've not seen that in
It
a.
depends on the system, the software. Different softwares do it differently.
I mean,
It's about probably 75-25. Most of them do come in parentheses, some of them don't.
I've been, it's different from what I'm used to. And I've looked at some other county budgets and they don't have that type of format either. So that's why
I haven't seen it, but
Yeah, well, Vance County has been doing, I've gone back and we've looked at prior year, and that's how it's been presented. Yeah,
Yes, we did it, my bad.
yeah.
that's typically how I see it. Revenues do show up negative like that. Because revenue's gonna be negative, expenses are debit, and then they zero out.
Mhm.
That's how I normally see it.
Was this, I mean, you've been up here 20 years. Are you saying this was the only one you've seen like this?
I believe last year had some zeros in it, but prior to that, I had not.
Why would it have changed?
It didn't change. Whenever we did the budget, I know when I came and we did the budget, we've always gone back and looked at, we didn't really change the format of how it was. So it's
I
always,
was saying,
yeah.
would it be a reason that Dan's been here 20 years, but he's never seen that before?
Depends on how she ran the report, I would assume. You just have to go into the admin software and see if it can be changed to all of it being, not having any parentheses, but.
From the prior years I've looked at, it's been like that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything else anyone has on the mind this time? Barry? Carl?
The only thing I'm interested in now is when are these meetings? 2 a year or 3 or?
I think at this point, what I understand from the majority of the audit committee is that we want to be more engaged this year in the audit. And so, I think we would leave that open at this point to, as we get communication from the auditors and from Ms. Williams as to if we need to meet, then we will call a meeting. And so that would be
So we'll base our meetings on what we see from the reports.
correct. That would be my thoughts on it, and I'm just one person on the committee, so. Okay. All right. Anything else?
I'm good.
Austin, you have anything for?
Yeah, I guess we just need to schedule.
Yes, yeah. If we could talk before, when we're done, that'd be great.
And just before we close, understand that we're gonna take these recommendations back to the full board and we'll be in contact with you thereafter, okay?
Yep.
That's all I have.
Okay. Well, committee, thank you guys for being here today. Good meeting.
I was thinking that, it's like I would do something wrong and then they would